You think people understand you. They never did. There was a man who spent his whole life trying to explain himself. He explained himself in conversations, in texts, in long messages sent late at night when the thoughts felt too loud to hold. He would pause after speaking, watching the other person's face, searching for that subtle signal that said, "Yes, I get you." Sometimes they nodded. Sometimes they smiled. Sometimes they said the words he was waiting for. "I understand." And every time, something in him relaxed. But not for long. Because later, the same person would respond in a way that made no sense, as if they had never heard him at all. And the confusion would return. How did they miss it? I explained it clearly. I said exactly what I meant. So he tried again. More words, better words, sharper words, softer words, different angles, different tones. Endless adjustments, all chasing one thing, to finally be understood. One day, he caught himself mid-sentence. Not because he didn't know what to say, but because he suddenly didn't know who was saying it. The version of himself speaking in that moment didn't feel the same as the version from 5 minutes ago. The meaning had shifted. The feeling had shifted. The point he was trying to make was already changing as he tried to make it. And that's when it hit him. If the one speaking is changing, then what exactly is there to understand? He went quiet, not to think, but to watch. He noticed something strange. Every time he spoke, the other person didn't receive his words. They translated them. Through their past, through their fears, through their expectations, through meanings he had never intended, and meanings they could not avoid. They weren't hearing him. They were hearing themselves, using his voice as the trigger. And just as suddenly, he saw the other side. Every time someone spoke to him, he had been doing the exact same thing. Nodding, agreeing, reacting, not to what was said, but to what it meant to him. Two people speaking different languages, using the same words, calling it understanding. That was the illusion. Understanding was never a shared event. It was always a private translation. And the one being translated wasn't even stable. Because the you trying to be understood is not fixed. It shifts with mood. It shifts with memory. It shifts with thought. It shifts moment to moment, sentence to sentence, breath to breath. So what does it mean to understand a moving target? What does it mean to finally get something that never stays the same long enough to be gotten? It doesn't mean anything. It never did. That's why the chase never ends. Not because people aren't listening, but because there was never a stable you to be heard in the first place. And once that's seen, something strange happens. The need to be understood begins to fall away. Not out of defeat, but out of clarity. Because the pressure was never coming from others failing to understand. It was coming from trying to make something unstable seem permanent. Trying to pin down a self and hand it to someone else to confirm. And when that effort drops, communication changes. Words still happen, conversations still happen, but the demand underneath them disappears. No more silent contracts. No more waiting for validation. No more searching faces for confirmation. Just expression, without the burden of being captured.
Because the truth is simple. You think people understand you. They never did. And the moment that's no longer a problem is the moment you were never trying to fix in the first place.